Your refrigerator is going to die on a schedule. So is your washer, your phone, your dryer, the bulbs over your kitchen sink. Not because they wear out when they have to. Because somebody, almost 100 years ago, sat in a room and decided exactly how long your things are allowed to last. And there is a light bulb still burning today that proves they were lying to you the whole time. Start with that bulb. In a fire station in Livermore, California, there is a small hand-blown light bulb that has been glowing, almost without interruption, since 1901. Over 1 million hours. It has outlived the cameras installed to watch it. It was made by hand, with a thick carbon filament, by people who were not trying to sell you a second bulb. They were just trying to make a bulb that worked, and it still does, more than 120 years later. So here is the obvious question. If a person in 1901 could make a bulb that lasts a century, why does the one you bought last year already flicker and quit? The answer is not that we forgot how, we got better. By the 1920s, manufacturers were routinely making bulbs. This episode brought to you by Fifth Pour, where every bourbon bottle gets its story. Scan a bottle, read what other enthusiasts felt about it, and add your own. Every bottle has a story. Find them all at fifthpour.com. That lasted 2,500 hours, and some experimental ones ran far longer. The technology was moving in exactly the right direction. Things were lasting longer every year. And to the people selling them, that was a catastrophe. Because a bulb that never burns out is a customer you only sell to once. And a whole industry had quietly realized that quality, real quality, was an enemy of repeat business. They had built factories that depended on you coming back. The better their product got, the less often you came back. So the thing they actually needed to engineer was not a better bulb. It was a shorter one. On December 23, 1924, the heads of the largest light bulb companies in the world met in Geneva, Switzerland. General Electric was there, Osram, Philips, the major British and French makers. Names you still buy today. They formed a group, gave it a respectable Swiss corporate shell, and called it Phoebus. On paper, it was about standards and cooperation. In practice, it was the first time in recorded history that an entire global industry sat down together and agreed, on purpose, to make their products worse. Here was the rule. Every bulb sold by every member would be engineered to last 1,000 hours, not 2,500. Not the century the Livermore bulb was already proving was possible. 1,000. They had measured what was achievable, and then deliberately walked it backward, and they enforced it like a law. The cartel set up a testing bureau. Members shipped their bulbs to be checked. And if your bulb lasted too long, if it ran past 1,000 hours, you were fined. Let that sit. They built an international system to punish a company for making something that lasted. This is the moment. Quick pause. We make this show because we care about the things people used to do right. So it makes sense our sponsors do too. Captain's Krill Oil is run by somebody who refused to switch to the factory method. The whole industry uses chemical solvents now because it's faster. Captain still extracts krill oil mechanically, right on the boat, the way nature intended it. CaptainsKrillOil.com. Back in a sec. The modern world you live in was actually invented. Not a product, a philosophy. It even got a polite name a few years later, during the Depression, when a real estate broker wrote it down and called it planned obsolescence. The idea that the path to permanent profit is to make sure nothing you sell is permanent. To design the funeral into the product on the day it's born. And once it worked for light bulbs, it never stayed in the light bulb aisle. It became the quiet default setting of nearly everything manufactured since. The part that's just a little too cheap. The component that fails a month after the warranty. The phone that crawls right as the new one ships. The appliance that costs more to fix than to throw away. None of that is an accident, and none of it is the limit of what we can build. It is a choice, the same choice, made in that room in 1924 and remade in 1,000 rooms since. The cartel itself didn't even last. They planned to run it for 30 years. The Second World War broke it apart by 1939. But the 1,000-hour bulb stayed on the shelves long after the men who agreed to it were gone, because the lesson outlived the conspiracy. The companies learned that you can sell people less and charge them more forever, as long as they never find out it was on purpose. That little bulb in Livermore is still burning. It's not a miracle. It's evidence, proof, sitting in a fire station, that they always knew how to make things last. They sat in a room, and they chose not to. They knew how to make it last a lifetime. They decided your lifetime wasn't the customer they wanted.